Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Amma ba'du. Then we continue in our reading from Kitab al-Siyam in the book Umdat al-Ahkam by Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah ta'ala. And we reached Hadith Miya wa Tis'un or Tis'un wal Miya. Laysa min al-bir as-sawm fi safar. It is not from righteousness to fast when traveling. Laysa min al-birri as-sawmu fi safar. It is not from righteousness to fast, or fasting is not from righteousness while traveling. وَحُكْمُ الْفِطْرِ وَحُكْمُ الْفِطْرِ, and the ruling of breaking the fast fi safar while traveling, لِلْمَصْلَحَةِ لِلْمَصْلَحَةِ. That's a sukoon. وحكم الفطر في السفر للمصلحة. Right? Any questions? You got it? Maslaha for a benefit. Maslaha. Like we have the word sad lam ha, islah, to bring about benefit, right? We use islah a lot of times to mean to bring reconciliation between the two. But reconciliation is benefit for the people, you know? Being opposed from one another and fighting is not beneficial, while being reconciled with another is beneficial. Lil maslaha, for a benefit. تفضل أخي.
عن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنهما قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في سفر فرأى زحاما ورجلا قد ظلل عليه فقال ما هذا؟ قال صائم. قال ليس من البر الصيام في السفر. Should I do the second hadith?
Oh, well, we have another part there anyway. وفي
لفظ لمسلم عليكم برخصة الله التي رخص لكم.
I would stop there and translate that and go through that first.
Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhuma, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was on a journey and he saw a crowd and a man being shaded. So he said, what is this? So they said, he's fasting. He said it's not from piety that he fasts on a journey.
No.
All right.
وفي لفظ لمسلم.
And in a wording, Muslim.
Belonging to Muslim or inside Muslim, yeah.
Yeah. Upon you are the concessions which Allah has allowed for you. Did you say that?
Yeah, or the concession of Allah.
Yeah.
Is it's a mudaf ilayh bi rukhsatillahi. Upon you is the concession of Allah. Allati rakhasa lakum, which He, I don't know, conceded for you, which He allowed you. The allowances upon you is the allowances, meaning it's allowed to break fast in Ramadan. So if you're going to get so bad that you have to lay down and people need to shade you, it's better for you to break your fast. If you're going to be strong and continue doing what you're doing, then continue doing what you're doing, no problem. But if you're going to be so weak that people need to stand over you and shade you and fan you and wipe your forehead for you and all of that, then it's better for you to break your fast, right? طيب الحديث الثاني.
وعن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه قال كنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في السفر فمنا الصائم ومنا المفطر. قال فنزلنا منزلا في يوم حار فأكثرنا ظلا صاحب الكساء ومنا من يتقي الشمس بيده. قال فسقط الصوان وقام المفطرون فضربوا الأبنية وسقوا الركاب. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذهب المفطرون اليوم بالأجر.
No.
Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu said, we were with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam on a journey, and amongst us were those who were fasting and those who broke the fast. He said, so we stopped in a place.
We stopped in a place. We settled down in a place, right?
On a hot day, and so, most of us were
وَأَكْثَرُنَا الظِّلًّا. Dhillan here is describing أكثرنا. And the most of us, dhillan, that had some shade, صاحب الكساء, was a person who had some garment. Meaning he was the most that any of us had basically to shade ourselves with was a garment, some type of cloth that we could hold over us to protect us from the shade.
And from us were those who were protected from the sun with their hand.
Yattaqi ash-shams, they would protect himself, basically protect the sun, bi yadihi, with his hand. So some people didn't even have a cloth. Aktharuna dhillan, the one who had the most shade from us was the one who had a piece of cloth. And there were those amongst us who only had his hand, basically, to protect himself from the sun. Qala fasaqata as-suwam.
And the ones who were fasting fell, and the ones who broke the fast stood.
They fell, meaning they fell unconscious, right? Fasaqata as-suwam, as-suwam, the plural of sa'im, one of the plurals, right? Sa'imun or suwam, they fell unconscious. وقام المفطرون فضربوا الأبنياء وسقوا الركاب.
And those who were not fasting, I'm not sure you can say that.
ضربوا الأبنياء, ضربوا meaning here, to hit, but here al-abniya is buildings, like bina. So they erected structures, right? They they erected tents. So you got to hit the tent poles in the thing. Darabu, they hit the tent posts into the ground. So this is why it's used, right? وَضَرَبُوا الْأَبْنِيَةِ. So they erected the tents. وَسَقَوْا الرِّكَابِ.
And they gave drink to the
الرِّكَابِ.
Their mounts.
Yeah, the riding animals, right? And they've watered the riding animals.
And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the breakers of the fast today have taken the reward.
No, ذهب المفطرون اليوم بالأجر. The people who broke their fast today, those people who were not fasting, they took all the reward, right? من فوائد وأحكام الحديث, from the virtues and benefits and the rulings of the hadith. أولا, firstly,
اعتناء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بأصحابه وسؤاله عن أحوالهم. The care of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم.
نعم, اعتناء from عين نون ألف مكسورة. This is form 8. اعتناء النبي is the masdar. اعتناء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
For his companions and the questions and his question regarding their condition.
And his questioning regarding their condition, exactly, right? So a leader, he doesn't just worry about himself; he worries about his companions, right? ثانيا, secondly,
أن صوم المسافر مع المشقة ليس من البر. The fasting of the traveler with difficulty is not from piety.
No, if there's some type of hardship or difficulty that's going to take place for the traveler, then fasting is not from righteousness. Some people might think, the more the difficulty, the greater reward. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's the case, but not always. You can't put yourself in an unnecessary difficulty and then think I'm doing this to become more righteous, to get more reward. But if it's there, it's there. The difficulty is there, but don't put yourself in it unnecessarily. ثالثا,
جواز الفطر والصوم للمسافر في رمضان لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أقر الصحابة عليه.
No.
The permissibility of breaking the fast for the traveler in Ramadan, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam suggested recommended that to the companions?
أقر, we said
Or decided?
we said yesterday, sunnah is 3 different types: qawliya, fi'liya, and taqririya, right? Things that he saw and he just agreed to, right? Tacit approvals. He didn't do it, he didn't recommend it, but someone did it in his presence and he allowed it, right? Or he didn't allow it, then it becomes, right? So these tacit approvals, aqarra, he agreed with the Sahaba upon that. But early on, Jawaz al-Fitri was sown. It's permissible to break fast and permissible to fast, right? It's permissible for both. Jawaz al-Fitri was sown. You can do either one. Because the Prophet ﷺ here, right? Some people were fasting and some people were not fasting, right? And it was allowed. طيب. رابعا
أن الفطرة أفضل من الصوم إذا كان في ذلك مصلحة. To break the fast is better than fasting if there is a benefit in that.
No. To break the fast is better than fasting if there's a benefit in that. خامسا
فضل خدمة الأصحاب في السفر. The good service of the companions.
The virtue of the service.
The virtue of the service of the companions on a journey.
Or being in service of your companions in a journey. So where do you get that from? Right? They were standing over him, shading him. Right? He was sick, something was wrong with him. The other Sahaba were around him, shading him. The Prophet said, "What is this?" Right? Said he's fasting. So here you see that you should help one another. I got my tent set up. I don't care if he's struggling. You know what I mean? No, go help him with his tent. You know what I mean? You know, maybe later on you have trouble starting your fire and he has his fire going, you know? Help each other, right? Any questions?
No, I didn't catch ذلل.
ذلل.
قد ذلل عليه.
قد ذلل عليه.
فرأى زحاما ورجلا قد ذلل عليه.
No. فرأى زحاما. So he saw a crowd. A ziham, like we say, muzdaham. The streets are muzdaham or izdiham, right? A ziham, he saw a crowd. وَرَجُلٌ قَدْ ذُلِّلَ عَلَيْهِ. He translated, he said that the man was being shaded. ذُلِّلَ. ذَلَّلَ يُذَلِّلُ, to shade something, right? To give something shade. ذُلِّلَ here is passive or majhul. He was being shaded. Not that he was doing himself, but he was being shaded. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ said, what is this? طيب هذا والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.